Only on CBS This Morning, we spoke to juror number 9 in the landmark trial of disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein. Drew, who asked only to be identified by his first name, was one of the 7 men on the 12-person jury. We sat down with him in New York City yesterday. He told us about the emotional and physical toll that the deliberations, she's trying to say, took on him and the other jurors, and about the pressure they all felt to be objective in the most watched case of the Me Too era.
I want to go back to that moment where it said the people versus Harvey Weinstein, and you're in that court and you think what?
What are the chances, you know, that of the people who were subpoenaed for jury duty? The happenstance was mind-blowing.
What did you know about Harvey Weinstein and the case?
Probably not as much as others, but obviously, you know, some.
You had heard about the case, certainly.
Yes, Ronan Farrow, the New Yorker, the New York Times, things of that nature.
Here you are, Drew. You're selected, one of the 7 men. Are you nervous?
A lot of people have asked me, you know, how can you be impartial in a trial like this? And
that's a good question.
Well, I take absolute pride in my objectivity. Judge Burke instructed us. He said, you can know who Harvey Weinstein is and still be impartial. And I agree with him 100%.
One juror has described it as a tense situation.
The tension, and because of the professionalism and the civility of each juror, was not person to person.
It wasn't confrontational.
It was not. This is heavy stuff. This is, you know, people are bearing their souls on the stand. Listen, 12 people, you know, me and 11 strangers. Everybody brings their own belief system and
life experience.
Everything, inclinations, inspirations, motivations. But it was our job that was put to us to be impartial and to interpret the law and to render a unanimous verdict in the case.
Did you ever have breakdowns yourself thinking about it?
I had a rough moment once, and I kind of found myself just, you know, I was holding my head kind of. And
what, tearing up? I don't know.
Yeah, it was just sad. And I turned actually to one of the other jurors, and I said, thanks for being my friend. And in retrospect, it's such a silly thing to say.
It's not.
But it was. No. It was like I had cut myself open and dumped it all out for everybody to see. And instead of judging me for it, they kind of all put me back together again.
So, Drew, that's not a silly thing to say.
No, I understand.
That's
but
a human,
you know,
that's a human thing to say.
It's just the word choice is funny to me now. But I was every day was very emotional.
I want to know the process and the deliberations. Take us inside. What would happen there?
I think helpful suggestion that I had made was that we take a different seat on each day of the deliberation, not during the trial.
Why did you want to do that?
Well, because I think it's a change of perspective, quite literally, you know, but also, you know, if you sit next to the same person every day, it's kind of an echo chamber of affirmation, just to avoid any type of groupthink or even subconscious gestures to one another.
It would also give you a different seat partner every day, too,
yes,
in the
exactly. So to just force yourself quite literally out of your comfort zone might also force you to take a more objective approach to what we're talking about.
Did the men feel one way and the women feel another?
You know, I get asked that a lot.
Yeah. I'm curious.
No.
Was there any breakdown among gender lines?
There was no gender bias. There was no race bias. No. And I thank them on 4 or 5 occasions just for the civility.
You heard that, according to the prosecution, Harvey Weinstein went through great lengths to hire companies, to get information on his accusers.
Obviously, we deliberated about it, but if I was rich and powerful and I heard that people were talking about me, I would hire an investigation firm to find out what they're talking about, and that's really all we deduced from that.
Was this a tough verdict to reach, to get a unanimous decision?
I understand that people have an interest and a desire to know, but this is how we found on these counts, and I see no upside to kind of pulling back the curtain any further.
You comfortable with your decision?
Well, that is an interesting question, and the answer is yes. and to speak to the respect I have for the people in the room. We have to live with these choices.
It was interesting because I'd said, you know, at times the testimony became very emotional from Annabella Sciorra and from Jessica Mann. It was very emotional, wrenching, he says, to watch. But their job was to focus on, did it happen on this particular day, what they were saying. They didn't look at the before, they didn't look at the after. Yeah. And he was very good at quoting the dates and quoting the details of the case. He was so meticulous in explaining his process and what they went through. And he didn't want to betray what other jurors were thinking, which I have to say, we tried many times.
I respect.
But I respected that, Anthony. I respected that. Yeah. And he wanted to say that this was painful for everybody involved. So I was very, very touched by him. You know, he was selected for the jury January 17th. The verdict came in Monday, February 24th, which is more than 5 weeks. Yeah. He said, I just want to get back to my life. Yeah. That's what I want.
That's a big commitment,
want to get back to my
5 weeks.
life. Yeah. People stalking him. He's hoping that will now come to an end. He's not interested in going on a media tour, he says.
That's so interesting. Why would people stalk him? What's the interest? I mean,
because they want to get information.
They want to find out if it was truly a fair trial.
The media people are fascinated, and they just want to know what he was thinking.
Yeah.